I feel like a lot of the times in the red pill community, a lot of guys want women to have a low body count, which I agree with, but then they'll have a very different standard for themselves, which, to be fair, I think body count is different for men and women. I think men can have a higher body count than women and still with it working out. But I think if you're a man who has a body count of 100 and you turn down a girl who's perfect, but she has a body count of 15, and just because you're against the body count issue, you have no room to talk. It's kind of hypocritical, which again, I still state that it's different for men and women.
But what if you're attracted to women who have a low body count? You just don't want to have a low body count yourself.
I mean, I think it would just be a little bit hypocritical because the reason you want a woman with a low body count is because she is all yours. You have like the privacy of her. I'm trying to look for the specific word, I can't think of it, but like, she's all yours. She hasn't been passed around by a bunch of men. I wouldn't want a man who's been passed around by a bunch of women. You know what I mean?
Okay. So if you only found men who were 6 feet tall attractive, is that something? You're not 6 feet tall, right?
Right.
Okay, so are you a hypocrite?
I mean, I see what you're saying. I think we're talking, like, what's the purpose of wanting a woman with a low body count, right?
Because you're more attracted to it.
You're more attracted to it, but why?
Well, let's just assume that whatever the reason is ridiculous and stupid. Let's just assume it for the sake of the argument. So what? You misunderstand what the word hypocrite means. Hypocrite does not mean I am doing the same thing I'm telling you not to do. That's not hypocrisy. Hypocrisy requires pretentious acting. That's what hypocrisy.
Not believing what you're saying.
If you're really fat and you're on a treadmill and you look over at a guy who's really fat and you say, hey, you shouldn't be so fat. That's not healthy for you. There is no hypocrisy there. He's correct. That guy is fat. He does need to lose weight. The status of you being fat has no bearing on that whatsoever. It's only if publicly I said smoking is bad, let's say, and then privately I was smoking away, then I would be a hypocrite.
So it's not believing the things that you're putting out there.
Yeah. There
Right.
would be a sense of acting, yes. So if a man says that he prefers a woman with a low body count, and he himself has a high body count, where's the acting?
Okay, so that's what I said, is that it depends on how he feels about it. If he regrets it and he...
No, he doesn't regret it. That's all he seeks is virgins, and that's all he wants. Mm-hmm. How does that make him a hypocrite?
Because he's not practicing what he believes.
No, he is practicing what he believes.
Or he isn't putting...
He believes that he should have a high body count, and she shouldn't.
I mean, I don't know.
So where's the hypocrisy?
Let me think.
It's just like, let's just say I'm fat, because I am, and I wanted a woman who is skinny, right? Am I a hypocrite?
That's your preference.
Of course.
So then the man in this scenario, he would say a high body count is bad, but then he has a high body count himself.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm getting a little bit lost on our definition.
See what you're doing?
Because I feel like we're bouncing
Here's what
back
you're doing.
and forth.
What you're doing is classic reframing, right? Sure. In a case where a man says high body counts are bad, right, and he has a high body count, maybe you could make the equation of hypocrisy then. But that's not what men say.
Okay, so I guess that was my
statement. I have a high
statement.
body count, and that's fine, and I want a woman who has a low body count. That is not hypocrisy.
So my statement is, I guess I should have clarified in the note, that a man who thinks that a high body count is bad and prefers women with lower body counts, but then at the same time goes out and sleeps with a bunch of women, while also saying that having a high body count is bad, I think that that's hypocritical.
Well, that would be hypocritical.
Okay.
Who's doing that?
So let me So that was the clarification on my opinion.
Yeah. No, I mean, if there was a serial killer who told you serial killing was wrong, he's not being a hypocrite. It's if the man was actively pursuing serial killers because he said it was wrong, and then secretly he was serial killing, then he would be a hypocrite, right?
So, like, for example, like, I've seen I think their name is Fit and Fresh. I think I've seen Fit and Fresh say having a high body count is bad, but then at the same time, they'll talk a lot about...
I can tell you right now that I can tell you Myron's exact position.
Okay.
Myron's exact position is that men and their status equation with having a high body count for women actually makes them more attractive to women. And women who have a higher body count makes them less attractive to men. And here's how he backs this up. And it's really hard to argue this point, because what he says is, look, women will usually insult men and put them in a lower social category if they haven't had sex with multiple women. They say you can't pull women, you're in a lower social category. Women, though, never put men in a lower social category because they have slept with many women.
I actually, if I go on a date with a guy and he tells me he slept with like loads and loads of girls, it actually puts me off him.
Sure.
If it's
your
like
preference of attractive, hang on, your preference for attraction may go down. Sure. But that doesn't mean his social status goes down with women, because it doesn't.
It's
Your particular and specific preference may go away. Just like your preference may be to have blonde-haired guys. That doesn't mean that the social status of a man goes down because he doesn't have blonde hair. The truth of the matter is the social status of men, at least in the current society, if they can have sex with beautiful women, is real high.
Well, that's
and the
depressing.
social status for women having sex with multiple men is not, because it's really easy for women to do that, isn't it?
It's of course, pretty much any woman can walk outside and,
but almost
and
no
get
man
laid
can.
within
So
5
if
seconds.
if you and I go out to the street tomorrow and we're holding a sign and you say, first man who honks, I'll suck your dick, right? And I say, first woman who honks, I'll sleep with you. Who do you think is going to get honked at first?
Probably the girl for sure.
Of course,
Yeah, the girl for sure. So it's not some big feat. It's not some great task that you've accomplished, is it?
Oh, absolutely not. I don't think
But
that
for a
a woman
man,
having a
it
huge
is.
body count is something to be proud of at all.
But for a man, it is actually a big task, isn't it? That if you could pull tons of beautiful women, that actually is something, which is not something most men can do. But for women, it seems to be super duper easy. So that's why the social status seems to be associated with
Got
that.
it.
You said something specific. You said if he can sleep with many beautiful women. I think women can sleep with a lot of men, but certain women choose to be chaste, right? That's the word? Chaste?
Yes. And their value goes exponentially higher.
Exponentially higher. So
Man's does not.
if you look at a man and you're like, oh yeah, he can definitely get it, but then you talk to him and he's like, yeah, I don't throw myself around there. I think maybe we can go around
Most
and
women
ask.
see that as a red flag, actually.
Can we actually
Most
go
women-
around and ask? Because
Most women will see men in their 30s who are virgins as being red flags. What's wrong with them?
What's
What's going on with him? What's the problem with that guy?
Okay, but like if I see a conventionally attractive man and I know that he could get any woman in the bar at that specific time, and then I come up to talk to him and he's like, yeah, I've actually only really had one relationship, only had one partner, that would instantly make me attracted to him.
Yeah, that's hot.
I honestly think everybody here would agree with that.
Yeah.
I think we can see an attractive man, understand that he can get it, but knowing that he didn't is hot. And it's the same way for women.
Yeah, well, let's find out if this is true. Okay? We'll do this with just a quick social experiment.
I'm ready to be proved wrong.
I want you, if you have slept with more than 3 men who have had only one body or less, raise your hand. If you have slept with more than 2 men who have had more than 5 bodies, raise your hand.
Wait, can you say that?
If you have slept with more than 3 men, and those 3 men have had more than 5 bodies, raise your hand.
Wait, sorry, I was getting confused.
What's confusing about this?
Sorry,
It's a man.
I zoned out.
Hang on. If you've slept with 3 men,
Not 3,
men,
no, sorry.
okay, who have had more than 3 women, raise your hand. Raise it up. Come on, raise it up. You can lie and say, raise your hand. Yeah, there we go. But nobody was raising their hand when it came to the man who had only slept with 1, but you want me to believe that you just find them to be conventionally attractive. Yeah, right.
They
Sell
are.
me some more bullshit some other time.